All right, listeners, check this out. Mo Fitness up in Columbia, Missouri is putting on a lift-off. All right, so don't forget to sign up for this Mo Weight Lift-Off, April 23rd at 9 a.m. That's when we start lifting. It's only $40, and you're almost guaranteed a PR with how insane the atmosphere will be. Winners will get a plethora of prizes from the following sponsors: LiveSoar, Tupood, Complete Nutrition, Roadblocks, Action Performance, and you might even get something from Unbroken Podcast. So make sure you check out the link in the description of the show. Get on there, get signed up, and get ready to set some PRs.
And I look over at Chris while he's playing his game, sitting in his chair, and at this point he was probably the biggest he had ever been. And I was just so sad seeing him look like, I hate to say it, but look like a blob, just sitting in the chair watching a screen, and that was his life. And I think it was at that point where I felt very helpless, and I just didn't know what to do.
Welcome to the Unbroken Podcast with Chris Crosby. I have a special guest today. I had to do some arm twisting to have her on here. But my wife is my guest, and everyone's been teasing me, asking me when I'm going to have her on, because she is such an athlete in her own regards, and she's a coach, and she's a marathon runner, and just a force to be reckoned with, and I'm really excited to have her on, not just to talk about her fitness, but also how I find it interesting to kind of pick her brain a little bit about the side of living with someone who has an eating disorder like I do, with the overeating and the hiding it, and how patient she's been. But let me welcome my wife, Jenn. Jenn Crosby.
Hello, everyone.
She's really nervous about this. She's the more introverted, doesn't like to be in the center of attention. And so I love that we're doing this because I could put her on the spot. But she is amazing. She always blows me away with the kind of stuff that she has to say. But my wife, she is so awesome. She is 5'2", and yes, she is a giant, and she is probably one of the pound for pound one of the strongest people in our gym. I mean, her first muscle up she'd ever done was just strict. Dude, tell them what a muscle up is, Jen.
Oh, a muscle up. Well, there's the bar muscle up, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the ring muscle up, using those rings, and I grabbed the rings and I basically just used my arm and shoulder strength to lift myself up above the rings.
Yeah, you did too at HOA, right?
I did. And I'm hoping to get one again, but using the kip.
Yeah, that's always something you struggle with. You have such control, but for you to let go, when you first started learning burpees,
right?
Our coaches, Dina, had to be just fall to the ground and push yourself up, and you'd want to do a strict push-ups. Everything you do is strict. Handstand push-ups you did strict for the longest time because just the kip was something that was hard for you to figure out.
Yeah, no, I would say so. And I do remember those burpees, and now I see other people doing those burpees, and I just tell them, just let yourself fall to the floor. Just, you don't have to do it that way and be so rigid. Just let yourself go. Let yourself fall.
So my wife has been my biggest cheerleader with anything fitness. So was it 6 or 7 years ago when I first started running?
I want to say 7,
right? Yeah, because I did.
Maybe. Well, let's see. No, I think maybe more like 6.
6.
Yeah.
Because we're doing CrossFit. Yeah, 6 or 7. But basically, I started watching YouTube videos, and I weighed at that time 333 pounds. So I hadn't quite hit that 340 like I did 348 the second time, but I weighed, way over 300 pounds. And I was watching videos, and I watched this video of Ben Davis run marathons, and
I think he was kind of your first inspiration.
Yeah, how many times did I watch that video?
Oh, many times.
Sat there and cried,
yes.
yeah. And so I decided I'm going to do the Couch 5K, and I'm going to run a marathon, and I did. So I started doing the Couch 5K program. It was a 3-month program, and at the end of the program, I picked out a 5K to do.
That's right.
And
I did it with you.
Yeah, remember like 2 weeks beforehand, you ran like the first mile that you've ran since maybe like high school.
Right. I ran inside the gym track.
11 laps around the Meyer Center.
And at the time, that was actually hard for me. That was challenging.
And then the weekend after that, you ran another mile.
Yeah.
And
just
then
tried to keep moving up in my mileage, yes.
Yeah, and then the day of the 5K, you went and ran it with me. You wanted to support me.
That's right.
Do you remember what we did the night before our first 5K with the Petersons?
What did we do?
Okay, so when people run a marathon, they go like, we got to go carb load, and they go to like eat pasta. Well, my friend Bill, it was his first 5K.
Yes.
Remember we did?
Yes, and he was inspired by you.
Yeah. And we went to Panera Bread and had like...
Oh, yes. I remember this
we
now.
carb loaded for the 5K before. But...
I don't think we really had any clue what we were doing at that point.
Zero. Like we just... All right. And it was a big deal. Like, we invited everyone to come watch. I mean, it was just like... I mean, it was just as daunting for me as a marathon.
Yeah.
But we ran the 5K, and you won your age group.
I did. It wasn't a very big 5K, just to put that out there, but I was very surprised. My goal was to just run the whole thing, and I actually ran it with your brother, Steven.
Yeah, who'd been training all 3 months with me.
Right. And so I ran it with him. I stayed with him most of the time, and I surprised myself.
He stayed with you most of the time. You left him at the last like half a mile or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe I did.
Yeah. And it was like a 24-minute 5K, your first one ever.
No, it was like a 29. It was a little under 30.
No, you did it faster than that.
No, I don't think I did.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't. It was 29 minutes.
Okay, whatever. 24. But yeah, she won her age group, and we didn't even stick around to see if we won a medal or anything.
No,
we just
we
left.
just like, yay, we did this, woohoo, and then left.
But you caught the bug after that. So the reason I share this is because anytime that I tried to do something to better myself, you jumped in. You tried to support me. Mm-hmm. So with the running, so I wanted to keep running, but it was really hard for me to do it myself, so I found a running club.
Right.
And you started running with my friends in the running club.
I did, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that support group.
Yeah.
And something like that could motivate just about anyone to just keep moving along, to keep reaching your goals.
So you started running, and you ended up, I would keep signing you up for, I mean, this is the pattern we're going to see. I was like, let's do a half marathon. You're like, okay, we'll do a half marathon. Let's do a marathon. Okay, we'll do a marathon. And
I did, I just kind of followed you.
Yeah, but I think the difference between you and I is you found a real love for running.
Yes, I still love running a lot. And I don't do it as often as I had when I was really training for something, but I still like to go out just for me a few times a week. And it's kind of my therapy, besides CrossFit.
You get like 3-4 miles in the morning.
I do, yeah.
And so you started doing your running, and let's do a little bit of your background, because a lot of people don't know this about you, but basically tell us what you did growing up.
I participated in artistic roller skating competitively.
Like nationally ranked.
I was in a nationals competition, yes, and I'd been to several regionals and just local competitions throughout the Midwest. And that's what I did growing up, and that's
Then-
really just a huge part of who I am.
And then you transitioned, because when you moved to St. Louis area, you transitioned to figure skating.
Right. I stayed with roller skating for a year after we moved, but then just with time and money and as being a little more convenient, I switched over to figure skating. It wasn't something I really wanted to do at the time, but then I grew to love that as well. It's very similar.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Like, watch you do I call it a one-legged pistol spin.
The sit spin.
Sure, you're one leg's out and you're spinning on one foot. You're in a pistol and you come out of it. I mean, it's just the athleticism there alone, and so it's something that sports training, a program, has always been something important in your life.
It has, yeah. I definitely consider myself an athlete, and I have been ever since I was very young, and I want to keep that going.
Do you feel like that training as a kid that helped you? Because one thing that you're known for in the gym is that being mentally tough too.
I definitely think that helped. I think that with my sports background and my skating background, it helped with discipline and determination at the very least. So yeah, I would definitely say that it helped me mentally.
Yeah, one thing that they say about you in the gym is you don't, you never cheat your reps, and you always stick with. I mean, like sometimes you drop the weight, but I mean, if it's heavy, I mean, you're 110 pounds. I mean, I don't think you care about me telling people that. 5'2", 110 pounds, but for the girls' RX weight for the day, if it's 105 pounds, you're putting 105 pounds on the bar.
Right.
And that's almost your body weight that you're cycling through in a workout.
Right.
I mean, you put that in perspective, a 225-pound person consistently putting 225 pounds over their head, that'd be very challenging. I mean, some of the strongest people, and we have had workouts like that.
Right.
But I mean, that's just, it's not the norm. But for you, that's the norm. Almost body weight or over body weight stuff.
I want to make sure that I challenge myself. And I don't really think about my body weight, because I know girls that might be a little bit bigger than me that can still move around a ton of weight, or at least in comparison.
Yeah.
And so I don't even think about my weight. I think about my goals and what the next step is for me.
What do you think your endurance training has helped you with your
I think with just sticking with it, and it helps me to keep moving. I like to find a consistent pace and then just keep going.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite workouts. The more challenging ones for me are the ones where I have to sprint through it really fast.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm working on right now, actually, is it's a different mental game getting through that sprint as opposed to
being able to drop the hammer. Like you like the chippers. You don't like the frans.
I do like the chippers, but the thing that intrigues me with the sprints is that it's a challenge, and I feel compelled to try to get better at it.
Yeah. So very athletic growing up, and that's the thing that drives me crazy is you just take the things. Like you're very competitive. I will not play putt-putt golf with you. Because like you're the kind of person that gets on the ground, looks at the level of the ground, tastes the air, throws grass in the air. And I mean, even ping pong with you can be like, because you grew up playing, I mean, we both grew up playing ping pong.
Did.
And I thought it was hot stuff. I mean, I played in some tournaments, and then this girl comes along, and she's giving me a run from, I bet we're pretty even. Or you probably are better than me. I think you threw a game of bowling once because I was getting so mad at you because I couldn't beat you at bowling. And I took a class in college in bowling. That's more than a weekend certificate.
You won't do anything with me anymore because you're afraid of losing.
Oh my goodness. So well, that tells you a little bit about Jenn, is she's so competitive.
I am competitive.
She's very competitive, and I think that's part of the reason why, because to talk you into doing, like, For you to want to do a competition or something, sign up for something like a 5K, you feel very confident in yourself, because I don't think there's been a 5K or a half marathon, or even, I think you even still placed something in that. No, maybe Little Rock you didn't, but because it was your first half.
That was my first full marathon.
But you didn't win any age group things,
No.
did you? Okay.
I was just glad I completed that one. That was one of the most physically and mentally challenging things for me.
Well, you didn't stick to your nutrition.
I know, I should have. That's true. I wish I would have done that better. But so now I am thinking about, well, when I do want to do it again, or a marathon again, sometime in the future, and I know what to do better and hopefully improve my time.
But for you, if I said, hey, next week we're going to do a 5K, you'd be like, okay, because you know you could place and you know you do well. I mean, you won the whole Republic try and won like $100. I mean, like that's just. But for you to do a CrossFit competition, I have to it's like pulling teeth. Do you? Is it because of the nervousness, or?
I don't know what it is. I guess I get to. I think that I need someone like you there to push me to do things like that in order for it to challenge me. Like you just signed me up for the what is it called? Mo weight liftoff.
Yeah, which we're a sponsor for this year.
Which, yes.
Yeah.
So that is completely foreign to me. Like I've done CrossFit competitions before, but this isn't really CrossFit. It's just weightlifting.
It's Olympic weightlifting.
Right. And
clean and jerk snatch.
Yes. And the weightlifting just by itself has always intimidated me more than any other aspect of CrossFit.
Well, that was one of the biggest hang-ups for you in starting it.
Yes, very much so. But, I mean, I think it kind of helps me drive to do better. Like when I saw that I didn't have that much strength, I wanted more strength.
Yeah.
And so at this competition, it's challenging because I know weightlifting's not my best aspect of CrossFit, but that's just going to help me focus more on it and make it better.
Right.
I'm going to work harder on it.
So one of the things that you do at the gym, one of your responsibilities as a coach, is you're the you're the beginners, the foundations, the fundamentals.
Right.
That's your job as a coach.
Yes, I love the Learn To class and teaching people who have never done CrossFit before the basics, so they can go into a group WOD feeling a little more confident and a little less intimidated.
Because I know one of the cool things that I know about you, because you get some of these meatheads and stuff that come in, they're like, I'm going to crush this, and they get humbled, even in your Learn To class, and the workouts aren't that difficult. But one of the cool things is you can do is people like you that are athletic or even not athletic, but you can look at them and look them in the eye and be like, I didn't want to do this when I first started. I was really intimidated, because most people when they walk into that CrossFit gym or any gym, it's very intimidating.
I love sharing my personal story because I think it's relatable to how a lot of people might feel when they first walk in.
Yeah. Do you remember we went over to CrossFit Springfield East?
You did? I
had just finished my Learn To class.
Right.
And Mel Forellis and Jeremy Meyer were my coaches, and Kathy, she helps them too. Kathy Metz, and I'd done a whole week of just normal WODs, and then I told you to drive up and come try it with me. Do you remember what that first workout was?
There was a lot of running, which I really liked.
It was like a form of Murph, but it wasn't Murph.
No, it was. There were a lot of body weight movements.
It was a
which
mile.
I enjoyed.
It was a mile run, or was it 800? You had to run something at the very beginning, and then you had to do.
Yeah, we did like a 1,500 meter run, I think.
So if it was 16, it was a mile.
Right. Well, we did like intervals of running. So it was like running and then come back in, do a movement. I think maybe push-ups.
It was like
sit-ups
push-ups,
or
sit-ups, and pull-ups. Because I remember Kathy put you on the. So I mean,
yes,
it's
I remember getting on the band for the pull-ups.
Yeah, and then you finish with another run.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we did running in between the movements.
So yeah, that's right. Yeah, every movement there was some running. So it wasn't quite like Murph, but it's terrible like Murph.
I loved it.
But you loved it, and you were hooked ever since.
That was definitely the WOD for me to start out.
Start
with.
on, yeah. What do you tell people? Because people worry about getting on the like girls worry about getting bulky. I mean, we even still hear that from certain people. I don't want to get bulky. What do you say to that?
What I tell them is that CrossFit alone will not get you bulky. I think a lot of that depends on your diet.
Right.
CrossFit though will change your body, and it might change you in ways that will surprise you. But if you keep working through it and trust the process, they will end up loving the results that they see.
Yeah, so they shouldn't worry about the change.
No, not at all. No, they'll really end up learning how to appreciate it, because they'll see how much stronger they're getting or how much better they're getting at something.
Your body becomes functional.
Yes.
What are some of the questions you get? Because you've been doing the Learn To classes 8 or 9 months now, maybe almost a year, maybe?
I think it's been almost a year, if not a year.
Yeah. What are some of the questions that you get?
Oh, goodness. I think the biggest question I get is, do you think I'm ready to go into a group WOD? Do you think I'm ready for this yet? And I tell them, yeah, I feel confident that you're ready to do this. You know the basics, and no, you're not perfect, but heck, I'm not perfect at this. And so I'm still working on a lot of different things. So, but you have a basic knowledge, go into that first group WOD, just like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it done. Just, be confident, really.
Right. It's fun too, because I always make it a point to go over and introduce myself to your Learn To classes, and to see them grow from because I've had the opportunity, when there's a lot of people there, I'll jump over and help you.
Yes.
Which
I appreciate.
And I get the chance to get to know these people, and it's so much fun to watch people improve and grow.
It is. I love seeing that. I think more than anything.
Share your 9 a.m. class experience today.
So, 2 athletes in the 9 a.m. class. They got PRs today unexpectedly. I don't think that they were even going to try for it. It just happened. One of them, April, she did her clean weight for the WOD, and then she forgot to change out her weight for the snatches. And so at the end, when we're they're trying to do a 1 rep snatch max, April just went up and she did it. And she thought, but man, that felt terrible. That was really heavy. She looked down, I forgot to change my weight. And so she's starting to take the weight off. And I said, April, you just did that. Do it again. Yeah. And she tried and she didn't get it. And I said, see, it's all in your head. You know that weight's on there, and now it's intimidating you. Don't let it do that. And she mustered up some guts, and she ended up doing it again. And then she put 2.5s on each end, and she did 5 pounds more than that. That's awesome. Which was a PR for her. Yeah. And then she did toes to bar today for the first time. She's never done that. And then Melissa, she got a 10-pound PR in her snatch today, and she about cried because
something she's been chasing for a while.
Right. She felt like, I'm not improving maybe as much as I should. So getting that for her was really great. Right.
Now, you touched a point that I like to go over, is that mental aspect.
Right.
How important it is. Like, because I had the podcast with Randy Santel, and he always talks about when before you begin.
Yes.
Like, how important is that in a workout or a heavy lift?
I think it's very important just to, I ask my class just about every time before it begins, are you guys ready? And they'll go, oh no, or oh I guess. I say, no, you are ready. Come over here. We are going to do this and get this done.
Yeah.
So I try to get them pumped up for what they're about to do, and I try to mentally prepare them. And I've told them before, don't go into a workout thinking that it's going to be easy, because it might end up being harder, and then where are you mentally? You're kind of lost, because now what do? You
Right.
had these expectations, they weren't met, and now you're just kind of go through the workout.
Go through the motions.
Yeah, just go through the motions and not really go after it. So I tell them, don't ever think that a WOD is going to be easy.
Yeah.
Challenge yourself. Even if the WOD is in your wheelhouse, challenge yourself in some way and get your mind right.
Do you personally go through that in your head? Because that's one thing is you're very introvert. Like you really think things through. And sometimes it drives me crazy because I'll be like, answer me, and she just sit there and thinks. And like even when we were doing the sound checks on the microphones, I'm like, just keep talking in the microphone, and you just stare off. I'm like, you need to talk into the microphone. She's like, I'm thinking of something to say. I'm like, just talk. So I mean, but I know you do a lot of self-talk, a lot of thinking.
I do.
And do you
I
do that in the workouts? Like what is kind of your mantra? Because for me, I whine and complain in my head, but then I snap out of it and said, like, let's go. And sometimes it's not in my head, but
I focus on the movements to try to make them the best that I can. So even for something as easy as a kettlebell swing, which I love doing and it's not that challenging for me.
then why didn't you do 55 yesterday?
I did 45. I thought that was challenging.
I'm just kidding.
I think that was pretty good.
No, you did awesome.
So I think about the movements just to keep myself in check. And even with like the hand release push-ups that we did yesterday,
Those are terrible.
in my mind I'm thinking, okay, don't let your thighs touch the floor. Don't let your thighs touch the floor. And so that helped me stay straight and have that good form throughout the whole push-up.
That's awesome.
So that's what I do. I try to keep myself in check when I'm doing a workout.
That's a really good tip. I'll have to try to use that. Because sometimes, like, I remember one workout where Mandy was just like, all right, there's a lot of snatches in this workout, and it's not too heavy. It was like 135. And she's like, but it's heavy enough that all your form is going to go bad later. She's like, I'll yell at you, but your form is going to go bad. And I was just like, my form is going to be perfect the whole workout. And I like every snatch, I was like, I'm hitting the pocket, I was gonna prove her wrong, even though she said my form looked bad later, but it helped me get through that workout.
Right.
So one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, because the struggle of someone like you. One time early in our marriage, you told me that I am probably the hardest person for you to have like, if you were going to marry any person in the world, I am the hardest person for you to have married. And then me being the smart aleck, and I'm like,
frustrated me that day.
Yeah, me being the smart aleck, I'm like, let's go find you a meth head then, because he's going to be way easier than you. And I started listing like all these terrible people. But I mean, is in this aspect of we're very different people.
Yes, we are.
We complement each other, and we kind of balance each other out. But there was a time in our relationship and our marriage that I was very sick, as in health wise.
Yes.
And not like it wasn't something that I didn't have like cancer or anything like that, but I was very mentally sick and physically sick. Yes. Where I was playing video games,
right,
maybe more than 40 hours a week.
It was a lot. It was almost.
I woke
sometimes
up.
it almost felt like a full-time job, because you would wake up, You would go to work.
No, I'd wake up and I'd check my auction houses
Oh,
on the game,
yes,
remember?
I do remember that now. But it was a very depressing cycle that I
Yeah.
saw you go through. Just the same thing with you'd work and then you'd come home, you'd eat dinner.
Where would I eat dinner?
Well, you would eat out and then you'd come home and then you'd have
Half a casserole.
yeah, just a ton of food.
And I'd eat while playing the video game.
And you would eat
I wouldn't
while
eat
playing
at the
the
table.
video game. No, you wouldn't. And it was just,
And how late would I stay up?
like 1, 2 in the morning.
And would I eat the whole time? Like
Yeah, you ate quite a yes.
Mac and
Just-
cheese.
mac
Ramen
and cheese.
noodles.
You had chips, probably by you, and just a whole bunch of crap. And it was very depressing for me to watch you do that.
Yeah. Can you share more about that? Do you remember?
I just remember feeling very sad, and I remember thinking, "What can I do?" I felt helpless.
Right.
Because I knew that I could only go so far, that that I could suggest things to you, or say, hey, why don't we do this, or how come we, or why can't we do this instead, or something like
But
that. But you had to make that decision for yourself.
Well, and anytime we did try to go do something, my back would hurt, or
Right, or you would just not feel well, or
my
you
blood
just
sugar.
or
Yeah.
you wouldn't even just want to go. Like,
It was so hard to go to the grocery store.
it was very depressing. It was very sad.
You share that time when you look over and just saw me sitting there in the chair playing. You shared this one story.
I was just I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but just probably trying to get some cleaning done or something. And I look over at Chris while he's playing his game, sitting in his chair. And at this point, he was probably the biggest he had ever been. And I was just so sad seeing him look like, I hate to say it, but look like a blob, just sitting in the chair watching a screen, and that was his life. And I think it was at that point where I felt very helpless, and I just didn't know what to do.
Yeah. We always, like, looking back now, I mean, we joked around about the widows of Warcraft.
Yes.
I mean, I was so committed and addicted to a game.
Yes. Which is why when Chris tells me, I think I want to start playing this game again, I kind of like, I think,
I almost say it now just to watch you react. And I mean, like, honestly, like, with any part of recovery, I'll joke around and be like, I'm World of Warcraft sober for 2 years. I mean, like, when I first started playing, or started doing CrossFit again, or for the first time I was still playing World of Warcraft.
yes.
But I was also doing stand-up then, too.
Right.
So, I was playing World of Warcraft, I was doing stand-up, and I was trying to do CrossFit. I was trying to change my life again.
Right.
I just walked away.
Yeah, that just couldn't work.
And then
you had
I-
to choose what you wanted.
And then I walked away from the stand-up and the improv. And now I'm addicted to CrossFit.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
lot.
I am too.
Well, and the cool thing is this is something we could do together. And
Yes.
it's something that the family, like my kids, my son doesn't see me wasting away in front of a computer screen.
Right.
And I mean, I used to think, oh, I can't wait for my son to be able to play World of Warcraft with me.
But now you can say, I can't wait for Micah to
Do
CrossFit.
Yeah, he told me on the way home from the gym the other day, he said, I don't want to have to wait 2 more years to start doing CrossFit with you, Dad. Because
Right.
our gym, you can't start until you're 12. And so I told him we're going to try to work something out. Maybe on Saturdays, open gyms, we could do stuff together. And
Yes, whenever he's with me and I'm prepping for coaching a workout, he asks, Mom, can you make a workout for me?
Yeah.
So I know he really enjoys that.
I was over there cleaning up, and there was a box out, and he's in jeans and a long sleeve shirt, and he starts doing box jumps, and he probably did about 50 box jumps, and just sit there and like almost pogoing them because he just wanted to show us so bad that he could do it. And it's just, but that's pretty cool for me to have something like that. And I see like there's a family on West Plains, the Hambies, and their whole family, mom, dad, kids, son-in-laws, everyone does this together, and they all travel together to certain competitions. And I mean, like I go out of my way to talk to these people, and they become friends out of this because something that I would love to do,
right,
and see my kids doing.
Yeah, very cool thing.
So what were some of the things that worked for you to help me when I was sick like that?
Oh, goodness.
I mean, like, basically, it's one of those things when I finally decided to change.
Right. I think it had to get to that point. Like I said, I just felt kind of helpless. I didn't know what to do up until that point. And I was so grateful. I was just so grateful that you had made that decision for yourself.
Right.
And then I felt really happy that I could do it with you, and I knew that doing it with you would be the best way to support you.
Right. So it's something, I mean, even when I was playing, at one point, you got your own World of Warcraft account.
I did.
So you could be with me.
Right.
And I remember one time, my brother, he came over, and we were up to like 2:30 in the morning, and you were playing World of Warcraft with us, and you look at me like, what are we doing? This is ridiculous. And me and Steven are like, oh, we're going to take you on a dungeon. You're like, I don't even want to be, I want to be in bed. But
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Can't we sleep?
I don't, look at this Tauren. Oh, yay.
I never really got into that.
I mean, I could tell too. But you were there with me.
Yes,
but the cool thing
I tried
is
to be.
we can do this now as a family together. And even now, I still have my struggles.
Yes.
With food and relapse, and I still CrossFit is my addiction, is one of my addictions, and working out and motivating, inspiring people, but when you balance the checkbook and you see fast food on there, what is it? I mean, besides, like, I can't believe you spent money, because I think I think if money wasn't a deal, maybe you wouldn't have as big a problem. But
it's both. Like, it affects it. Making those kind of decisions doesn't just affect you; it affects everyone that's connected to you. And yes, unfortunately, it is less money. I'm really not, though, as concerned about that as much as I want you to make good choices for yourself. And the more you do that and the more consistent you are, the better off you'll be in the long run.
Right. With hitting goals, because we all have our goals, and what my goals are.
Right.
And you have your goals. And one of the things that and I've talked to Dylan, who's been on, Dylan,
Yes.
He's been on the podcast. I talked to him, and I've been talking to him today about putting you on a nutritional program to gain weight. And I tell people about that, how, well, my wife is trying to gain weight, and she's eating everything in sight, and she can't put an ounce on.
Right.
And I look at anything, and I gain weight, and I'm trying to lose weight. And they say, like, how hard is that? Because you could sit down. I like to surprise you with stuff. That's one of my love languages, is giving gifts, and
I do enjoy that a lot.
And so, but I'll bring you home a thing of Kit Kats, or I'll bring you home a soda, or I'll bring you home cookies, and you'll pound that whole thing. and you still have your 6-pack in the morning. I mean, like, like, number one, that's infuriating.
It's like the cookies just made my abs a little bit bigger.
Yeah. So many people hate you right now. But for you, you're on the other side of that spectrum. How frustrating is it to know that for you to move more weight, you have to gain weight? I have to
gain weight. Yeah, being as light as I am, I think a lot of it has to do with technique, which I need to improve on. But yeah, I can only, I mean,
your frame, you are very tiny.
Right. I mean, realistically, I can only go so far with how much I weigh.
Yeah.
So really, yes, to be able to lift that weight that I would like to, yes, I need to gain a little bit of weight.
But I mean, you don't have. I mean,
weight.
it's true, but you have people like Chris Spieler, who was
my size, really.
Yeah, he's only a few inches taller than you.
Right.
And he can move.
Yes.
He can move some weight.
Yes.
But I mean, like you said, it comes down to technique and training and volume and
right.
I mean, what depends on what your goals are.
This is true.
But what are your goals moving forward with CrossFit? Because I mean, right now, like body weight movement stuff, and even then, like still ring muscle ups. It's just
yes.
So there's certain things that if you see these movements in a workout, everyone's going to be like, there's you have your name on the board several times on our ladies board. At our gym, we have the girls, the benchmark workouts. Yeah. And if you know if it's a chipper and it's not super heavy, Jenn's going to be on the board.
Running in it.
Or running, Jenn's going to be on the board. But what are your goals moving forward, and how do you plan on achieving them?
Let's see. Now that I'm in the weightlifting competition, I definitely want to focus more on my Olympic lifting, so I can focus on my technique, perfecting it, so I can lift more weight. And so along with that will also come a healthier diet, and a better diet to gain that weight that I'd like to. But yeah, other things like ring muscle ups, the kipping that I want to get down. And it infuriates me that I still haven't gotten double unders down. I just think that's something that I should be able to do.
But you have like you have a distraction when you. I mean,
I really don't think it's that.
You pee your pants when you do double unders. I mean, but a lot of women do.
Well, maybe that distracts me sometimes, but it's mostly just. Dang it, I can't figure out this rhythm.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I'm the same way. We've both been almost doing this for 3 years, and I'm just like double, single, double, single, double, single.
Yes, and that it irritates me because it doesn't look hard.
No.
It should not be hard
It's a rhythm.
Yeah. I have rhythm.
I got rhyme. Get on up, it's bobsled time. Cool runnings. Yeah, it's very frustrating on certain movements and stuff like that. And here's the thing that I might be a little selfish on my side of it, but my training time is very important for me.
Yes.
I'm selfish when it comes to my training.
Well, I think that you're just trying really hard to stay focused on what you know will keep you healthy.
Right.
And so it's important for me to support you in that so that you know that I am behind you 100% on that.
One thing that I respect you about, and I value, because for me, I'm like, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to stay later. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my squat cycle in. But you also think about let's think about the kids, and I that's something that's hard for me. So not only are you work part-time, you're office manager, you're a part-time CrossFit coach, you work over 20
hours a month,
30 hours sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's really busy. Yeah.
Which, I mean, isn't a lot per se, but it's also enough that, I mean, the
no, it
prep.
adds up.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get paid for that hour that you prep for the workout.
Right.
You don't, and then the half hour, 45 minutes there talking and talking to people afterwards. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you do, and I'm not shortcoming. Like, we feel really blessed, but it's you have these hours, but it's a lot more.
Yes, I think about that hour within or for the WOD as my job, and everything else beyond that is bonus for me, and I hope it's a bonus for those that I'm trying to help.
Right.
Yeah, that's never been one of those things where I thought, oh, I'm not getting paid for this.
No, and I didn't want people to think that, but
no, I didn't say that either, but I just.
But I'm demonstrating that not only are you, like, because we have people in the gym, and Amandy's one of my favorite people there at the gym. She has her job, but then she trains.
Right.
And then she has a social life, but we have 3 kids that we raise, we love, babysitting. I'm such a terrible dad. And like, when Jenn goes somewhere, I'm like, I'm babysitting tonight, and people are like, you can't babysit your own kids. I'm like, they're mine. But I mean, Jenn, you're an office manager. You work 20, 25, sometimes more a week. You're a CrossFit coach, which it's more than just the few hours that you work.
Yeah, it's more than just the hour. Right.
But also, you're a mom and a wife, and me, with my personality, if I look at you on the weekends, and if there's not something going on Saturday or Sunday, I make something happen.
Yes, you do.
When was the last time we just had a weekend down? It's been a while.
Oh, it's been a while. Those weekends are few and far between.
Yeah, but I mean, because we love people, we love interacting, we love socializing with people. So I mean,
yeah, I do. I love that.
But it's sometimes
every now and then, though, it's nice just to not have anything for a day or two.
So like when you're busy, like where for you is training? Like what's your goal? I mean, like, we already talked about your goals, but like, where does that stand for you? Is that maybe why like a competition's so daunting to you, because you know how much extra you need to put into to be competitive? Or
yes, that is something that. So when I do think of a competition, I do think about what it's going to take to prepare for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think with this competition that's coming up, it won't be as much, because I'm focusing on just a couple of different movements that I can work on for a little while before after a workout, as opposed to maybe a bigger competition that's a day or two,
right,
and you're working on a lot more movements,
right,
maybe even with someone else trying to coordinate that. So yeah, those are definitely things that I consider. So when I train, I think about, well, when can I train where it's not going to interfere, or it'll interfere minimally with the kids and with their schedule. And so there are a couple, or 2 to 3 nights out of the week.
You just won't come to the gym.
Yeah, like Monday I won't come. Wednesday I do coach, but I don't
in the
come
morning,
to work out. Yeah, I coach when the kids are in school. So, but there's 2 to 3 nights a week that I do come in to work out, but I also coach. So if I don't have to coach that night, I will try really, really hard to train that morning when the kids are in school.
Yeah.
So that way I try not to interfere as much with their schedule.
Yeah. Do you care to address the rumor about being your partner at Tanger? You get pregnant?
Why should I address this?
I mean,
are we warning people?
Is this so? The last 2 years at Tanger, or Stacy Campbell, I guess, dodged a bullet because you guys were going to do Tanger this year, but
we were.
Something came up.
Something came up for her, so
your last 2 Tanger partners have had a baby.
Yes, but that is just coincidence.
I mean, I don't know. I think there's. Now let's talk about because I love doing competitions. I love signing up. I love that aspect of training towards something. I love that environment, and even so much as if I'm not competing, I'll sign up to volunteer.
Right. Yes.
What about your thought? One of the things that there's so many things that we've been wanting to do this year, but we're not doing because it's getting so expensive.
Yes. So you have to pick and choose what we want to do that pertain to the goals that we have.
And a lot of these competitions, I mean, even like a 5K is for charity. But the one thing I like about 5Ks is a 5K, even if it is for charity, you'll still get your t-shirt, even a tech shirt. And it's $20, $25. I mean, you can kind of count on that. And the time that someone has to put into it, I mean, the race, the slowest end of a 5K, someone might take an hour.
Right.
But
it doesn't take a whole lot of training either. Not a lot of extra time, in my opinion, for training for a 5K.
No, I mean, I disagree respectfully because, I mean, I trained for 3 months for my first 5K. So for some people, I mean, it might be
well, no, I see what you're saying there. But I'm thinking of distance.
Yeah.
Training for a marathon is twice as much as training for a half marathon because it's double the distance. So that's what I'm thinking of is if I have to run twice as much, then I'm going to be out twice as long for my training.
I see. But my point is that the time put into setting that 5K up is not as much as putting on a competition, a 2-3 day competition.
Right.
And I understand that there's a cost to it, but I almost think that some of these competitions now are trying to be the CrossFit Games is 4 days. And you're getting competitions that are 3 days now that normally, when they first started, they were a day.
They were just a day.
And it was in a price range that people could do. To the point now, we wanted to do Tanger, but I would have had to burn a vacation day.
Right.
We travel down there, or I guess it's the Throwdown now, which is still a great competition, and I'm going to have Justin on the podcast. And he puts on a good competition.
Yes, he does.
And
I've enjoyed the competitions that he's put on.
And he's a really good person. But I just almost feel like that it's almost getting carried away now. And I think that's why we're seeing some of these newer competitions that are more price range, that are newer, that are selling out.
Right.
Because I think people are looking for something maybe new.
Yes.
But it's also still within that price range.
Yeah. I've seen competitions go from one thing to another and grow, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
And where they are now might be a little intimidating for the average athlete. So, but there are still other competitions that are a little more low key.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage anyone who wants to try competing to start out with those. Like you would start out maybe with a 5K.
Right.
For your first race instead of a half marathon.
So HOA, which is a good competition.
Yes. It's very, very competitive.
But that would be your equivalent of a marathon.
Right.
Or even an ultra marathon. I mean, that's something that...
Right.
I mean, people can walk... I mean, there's people that do marathons with very little training, and they're wrecked.
Yes.
But HOA is 3 days of working out. I mean, it's like a half day Friday, all day Saturday, and then Sunday morning.
Right. So yeah, it's a lot to put into and to invest in.
Right.
Time and yes, money.
Right.
I think it's wise to start out trying to find something that's a little more your level.
Right.
If you are a beginner.
I mean, even a lot of gyms will do an in-house competition.
Right. Yes. So if you have a box that does that, I definitely encourage you to do that. And that can be your starting point.
Or even the CrossFit Open.
Yes, definitely. Just so you can get that competitive edge, and there's something about a competition that can really challenge you,
Right.
and make you perform better than you ever thought could be possible.
Right.
We had a team from our box with some fairly new CrossFitters participate in HOA, which, like we said, was a huge competition.
Yeah. Part of America.
Right. And so they worked their butts off training, and I'll never forget how they stepped up to even the hardest of the hardest workouts that they could have possibly have imagined.
Are you talking about my team?
Yes.
It's like, shut up. Almost killed.
They stepped up, and they inspired me just watching them do their absolute best and go above and beyond anything that they probably even expected of themselves.
Right.
And so what they got from that is they did not get a placement.
We placed. Second to last.
Top 3 placements.
Oh yeah, third from last. Yeah, that's right. Nailed it.
But that's definitely not what mattered. For me, it was...
We enjoyed the training. That's
Yes.
the thing is, like, we put together
Yes.
every week not only as our team, but every team from our gym.
Right, we did training together every Tuesday night, and that was a lot of fun. And so training for that together is certainly one of the best aspects of the whole process.
Right.
Not even just that finish line of that competition.
Right.
But watching your team do all that they did was amazing.
So many people, I tell them, enjoy the process. Because a lot of people think about... they want to watch that 5-minute montage highlight video.
Right.
I know I do. I want a six-pack. I know it's in there.
It's in there somewhere.
I have a really strong core. Some would say I'm hardcore. I want to see that end result, but I have to, I tell my team that I'm helping with the whole life challenge is enjoy the process.
Right.
Because if you don't enjoy the process and all your goal is to have a six-pack or whatever,
right,
it's not, you're not going to keep it. It's not going to be long-term.
Right. No, you could end up losing it very easily.
And I think that's why you still love running so much. For me, I loved meeting my friends and spending an hour with my friends in the morning.
Right.
I liked the feeling of finishing the run. I liked that endorphin high. I loved that I could run.
Right.
I could run 12 miles without stopping.
What I loved about watching you do it was you started at a certain point where you could hardly run at all.
I couldn't run from one mailbox to the other.
Right. And then I loved seeing your progress on the outside. I'm sure you enjoyed that progress for yourself, but I enjoyed seeing that too, just watching you grow within that sport also.
But you love the process, and that's one thing I see about you is, and I see this in Joe as a coach, is on days that he trains, a lot of times he trains at CrossFit Springfield East just because he can take the owner hat off.
Yes, the coach's hat. It's a different mentality. It is.
And he could just work out. But the times that I see him train at our gym, he's just he has a whole thing mapped out. He's he loves the process.
Right.
And I'm even guilty of this with CrossFit. Sometimes I'm like, I need to do this squat progression to get better at squats. I don't want to do this next set, and you're just like, okay, we're going to do the next set. And for me, I enjoy, oh, my friends are here. Hey, let's hang out. Oh man, that workout was a lot of fun, huh? That was hard. And I'm getting better, but I live for the social aspect of it. But I really respect the people that are just like, they're just putting in work. And I do that too, because I have goals and stuff. But I don't enjoy it, I think, as someone as like Joe or like you.
Yeah, I think that takes, just a special type of mentality, just enjoying the process.
Right. So one thing that I ask people about, and I'm sure you get asked this too, being the coach that you are, what are your top 3 tips for someone that's, and I mean, the cool thing about you is you're not just a CrossFit coach, you're a runner, you cross several gamuts of fitness. What are your top 3 tips for someone wanting to become fit or start doing something or even just better themselves who are already fit?
Let's see. Some things that have helped me throughout my process, and Chris jokes around about being the socialite and wanting to be there because his friends are there, but I think that is very important. I think having one person or a group of people there that you can rely on to get you through the easy days and the tough days is very important.
Right.
And there's some really great relationships that can be made.
Some of our best friends.
Yes, right. My very best friend, she still runs with me, and we're not training for anything. We're just running together because we love to be together and we love running.
Yeah. We have countless friendships. I mean, like people.
Right.
I mean, that's part of why every weekend we have so much going on, because just not only you want to hang out with these people, you see them every day, 5 days a week in the gym.
Right, you're working out with them, and
then you want to just hey,
and then you just want to hang out.
Let's go hang out. I mean, you
get to know them, and just having
Nate
those.
And Angie. I mean, all of our coaches. I mean, I could sit there and name everyone in the gym because I honestly love seeing everyone every day.
Yes, and I do too. I love that aspect of it, having that support system. So it's important to find a friend or find a support system to help keep you motivated. Another tip I would say is make those goals and then be specific on how you're going to achieve them. Write it down so that you feel like when I write something down, I feel like I'm committing myself more to it. Yeah, in a way, yes. And so, so have some goals, write them down, and be specific on how to attain them. And another thing too, strive your very hardest to believe in yourself and have confidence in yourself.
Right.
That's, when I did my figure skating and my roller skating, I loved it and I felt pretty confident in it. I felt like I was good at it. And so that was something that was wonderful for me.
Even your 5Ks, you're running.
Right. That's definitely something that I feel confident in too. So, but you don't have to be good at it all the time.
Yeah.
To really enjoy it or to feel like.
Some people wait to be the bad A before they sign up for something, when part of the process is just doing it.
Right. And so, just having that confidence, I think, is very much key.
Jenn, it's been over an hour.
What?
I know, it flies.
It does fly.
Will you start Instagramming? She has an Instagram account, guys. It's at StrongMomRx.
Oh.
Because she lives mom.
You know me in social media.
She is. I mean, like, I have to be like, hey, Jen, she'll have like 30 notifications on her Facebook. I'm like, people are trying to communicate with you on Facebook.
I've gotten better.
I bought you your first phone when we were engaged because no one could ever get a hold of you. Like,
I had a phone though.
A landline.
I did. I had a landline.
I could never be like, I want to talk to my girlfriend. But, well, thank you so much for coming on. I hope people enjoyed this one. I mean, like, you have been such a rock and a help and a best friend and everything for me. And I wanted to talk to you on this, and I'm glad I got the opportunity to. And
me too.
And I hope our story, because I mean, it really was hard. I was really sad. I was really depressed.
And I was kind of depressed along with you, watching you.
And, but the coolest thing is when I decided to change, you didn't say, well, you can't do it. You always believed in me no matter what.
Yes, I believe you can do anything.
She even believes I can fly.
I told him once, I said, Chris, if you wanted to become a ballerina dancer, I believe that you could do it.
And that's when I knew she was crazy. No, but she honestly believed me and didn't doubt me. So that's the cool thing about her. When I get one of my crazy ideas, and she knows to this point where she's like, yeah, let's do it. You research it out. And if I stay excited about it, she knows that more than likely I'll do it, like this podcast.
Right.
So I love you.
I love you too very much.
And I'm glad that you decided to be my guest today.
I'm glad that we could do this together.
All right, guys.
So much fun.
Again, if you enjoyed what you heard, make sure you go and like and subscribe and comment on the blog page, because it really helps, or not just the blog page, but also on iTunes and Stitcher, because it really helps people find me. I just loved it for this to grow and become more. And look out for an ad for the weightlifting competition that we're sponsoring. I'll have that at the very beginning here. And guys, remember to live unbroken.